The stars had always been quiet, at least for humans. Since the first telescopes had looked deep into the night sky, humanity had imagined what might exist among the distant points of light. For centuries, humans had built machines to travel the void, probes to visit neighboring planets, and radios that listened for any signal from beyond their small blue world. Yet, for all their effort, the galaxy had remained silent. Until that day. It began as a flicker in the deep space communication networks, barely noticeable. On Earth, in the heart of the United Nations Space Command, Dr. Amina Rathore leaned forward, her eyes fixed on the glowing display in front of her. The signal was weak, irregular, and carried on a frequency that no known human transmitter used. At first, she thought it might be a glitch. The decoding systems kept alerting her that something intelligent was trying to communicate. Her assistant, a young engineer named Marco Silva, frowned at the data. "Dr. Rathore, are you sure this isn't interference? Something from a distant pulsar, maybe?" Amina shook her head slowly. "No, pulsars don't speak in patterns like this. There's intent, something wants us to understand." For hours they worked. The signal carried symbols and sequences unlike any human language, yet beneath the strange patterns was a clear rhythm: fear, urgency, and a plea. Through painstaking translation using advanced algorithms and quantum linguistics, fragments of the message emerged. An alien civilization, the Lyrian, were under attack. They were losing their homes, their families, and perhaps their very existence to a relentless force called the Drovak Swarm. When the message was finally understood, it shocked the world. News agencies broadcast the story, scientists held emergency meetings, and politicians debated what humanity should do. Most of the galaxy's older powers, the Solari Collective, the Andari Alliance, and the Zoran Dominion, had already received versions of the signal, but they had ignored it. It was not their fight, they reasoned. It was not their problem. Humanity, however, was different. Earth had long been a latecomer to space travel, and the species was still considered young and inexperienced by interstellar standards. Yet there was a stubborn streak in humans that could not ignore a call for help. The United Earth Council gathered, representing every nation, to discuss the decision. "We have no obligation to these aliens," one delegate said, adjusting his tie nervously. "We barely control our own planet. Why risk our lives and resources?" Amina stood and spoke quietly but with a strength that carried across the room. "Because if not us, then who? Every species begins somewhere. The Lyrian sent a call and we heard it. To ignore it would make us no better than those who abandon the weak. Humanity has the chance to stand for something greater than itself." After long debate, a decision was made. Humanity would answer the call. They would send explorers, scientists, engineers, and soldiers into the stars to reach the Lyrian before it was too late. It was a dangerous mission, and many questioned whether humans were ready. Yet there was no hesitation among those selected. Captain Elias Moreno, a veteran of orbital missions and experimental starflight, was chosen to lead the first fleet. His crew was a mix of military officers, engineers, and scientists. Among them was Dr. Amina Rathore, who would act as the communication specialist. Together, they prepared humanity's first true rescue mission beyond the Sol system. As the fleet departed Earth, the planet watched in anxious silence. Children waved from schoolyards, families gathered in city squares, and the media broadcast every second. For once, humanity was united in purpose, not in politics or rivalry, but in hope. The journey to Lyrian space took months. Humans, still learning the intricacies of faster-than-light travel, moved carefully, guided by the faint pulse of the Lyrian signal. During this time, crews trained, maintained their ships, and shared stories of why they had volunteered. Some had family histories of explorers. Others had grown up in worlds plagued by war and wished to make a difference. All understood that failure could mean death, not just for themselves, but for those they were going to help. One night, aboard the lead ship Resolute, Captain Moreno stood on the observation deck, gazing at the stars stretching endlessly ahead. Dr. Rathore joined him. "Do you think we're ready?" she asked softly. Elias shook his head. "Ready or not, we have to try. Some things are worth the risk. Some calls can't be ignored, no matter how small we feel." Amina nodded, feeling a mix of fear and determination. If we succeed, we might change the galaxy's opinion of humanity forever. When the fleet finally entered Lyrian space, the sight was terrifying. Entire planets glowed red under bombardment. Starships, sleek and silver, were torn apart by the massive Drovak hive ships, which moved like living shadows across the stars. Smoke and debris streaked through orbiting space lanes, and countless signals of distress poured from the dying worlds. The Lyrian themselves were awe-inspiring. Their cities were delicate and elegant, shaped like crystalline structures, and their ships were beautiful, almost fragile in design. But fragility did not mean weakness. Even under assault, the Lyrian moved with precision and coordination. Their people, humanoid yet unlike humans, had an almost musical quality to their communication, a harmony of voice and light. Yet despite their elegance, the Lyrian were desperate. Their fleets were overwhelmed. They had assumed that the galaxy had abandoned them, and now humans appeared on the horizon, small and untested yet brave. The first contact was tense. The Lyrian ships scanned the humans warily. They expected enemies, not newcomers. Captain Moreno initiated communication, transmitting a simple message in the Lyrian code. "We heard your call. We are here to help." There was silence. Then a small Lyrian vessel approached, its leader aboard, a figure of shimmering crystal-like skin and eyes that reflected the stars. The Lyrian leader's voice, both melodic and cautious, reached the humans. You heard us? We thought no one would come. Why would your kind risk everything for us?" Moreno replied firmly, "Because it is the right thing to do. Fear will not stop us. We fight not for glory, but to protect life. We answer your call." It was a simple answer, but it carried weight. For the first time in the Lyrians' history, a species answered their plea without hesitation, without calculation, without politics. Humanity had chosen action over indifference, but there was no time to celebrate. The Drovak swarm did not pause. They descended on the Lyrian cities with relentless force. Moreno ordered his fleet into formation. Human ships, smaller and slower than the Drovak hives, but flexible and clever. They used every trick they had: sudden evasive maneuvers, ambush tactics, and improvised weapon systems that leveraged gravity wells and debris fields. The first clash was chaotic and terrifying. Explosions lit the void, and sensors were overwhelmed by the sheer numbers of Drovak ships. Yet despite being outnumbered, humanity held the line. They diverted attacks from the Lyrian evacuation convoys, allowing thousands to escape. Every human ship that fell became a story of bravery, a beacon of hope that the Lyrian had never believed possible. Through the chaos, Dr. Rathor coordinated the communication between fleets, her mind racing to interpret Drovak signals. Using patterns she had discovered, humans began to anticipate some of the swarm's movements, turning the tide of small skirmishes. The Lyrian watched, astonished. They had never seen such unpredictability and courage. Humans did not fight like other species. They improvised, risked themselves, and never gave up. After the battle, both fleets regrouped. The Lyrian thanked the humans, their voices trembling with relief and disbelief. "You have done more than we imagined possible," the Lyrian leader said. "You have given us hope when all seemed lost." "We did not expect this." Captain Moreno, weary but determined, replied simply, "We heard your call, and we will keep answering it as long as you need us." For the first time, humanity realized the scale of what they had undertaken. They were not merely travelers or observers in the galaxy. They were becoming something new, a species willing to stand against the darkness, to face impossible odds for the sake of life itself. As the human fleet prepared for the next challenge, the stars no longer seemed silent. Every flicker of light in the void reminded them that the galaxy was vast, full of danger, but also full of opportunity. Humanity had answered the call, and nothing would ever be the same. The galaxy was waking up to a truth it had ignored for too long. Humanity was back. Alien fleets, once confident that the humans were weak and scattered, now scrambled to respond. Systems that had thought themselves safe were suddenly vulnerable. Entire sectors were disrupted by small, precise strikes from the Dark Fleet. Rumors spread quickly among the Council and the alien commanders. Humans are not finished. Humans are stronger than we imagined. Captain Elias Rourke stood on the bridge of the Erebus, his gaze fixed on the holographic display of approaching fleets. Thousands of alien ships were converging, forming what could be the largest coalition ever assembled to fight humanity. Light cruisers, battle carriers, and massive dreadnoughts filled the map. The Council had realized the danger too late, and now they were sending everything they had. Lieutenant Kara Sun approached, her voice calm but serious. Captain, they outnumber us by at least 10 to 1. Rourke nodded, unfazed. Numbers alone don't win battles. Strategy, speed, and adaptability win. And humans. We never fight the way anyone expects. The fleet prepared for engagement. Human ships moved with precision, weaving through asteroid fields, hiding in gravitational shadows, and coordinating attacks with near-perfect timing. Every maneuver had been practiced in simulations for months. Every ship, every pilot, every crew member knew the plan. But all were ready to adapt in an instant. On Earth, General Amara Klein observed the fleet's movements through secure communications. Her eyes were sharp, focused. "They will come at us with everything they have," she said to the Council of Human Leaders. "But that is exactly what we expected. We know their tactics. We have learned from their patrols. We are ready." The first wave of alien ships entered the sector. They moved confidently, expecting an easy victory. But the humans were not waiting passively. Lieutenant Mira Voss led the fighter wing. "Alpha formation engaged," she reported. Positioning complete. The human fleet struck with sudden speed. Fighters disabled engines of alien cruisers while stealth raiders cut off communications. Energy beams and targeted strikes created confusion, forcing the aliens to react instead of act. What should have been a straightforward battle quickly became chaos for the coalition. Rourke watched calmly as the humans executed their plan. "Remember," he instructed, "we are not here to destroy them completely yet. We are here to demonstrate what humans can do. Precision, strategy, and unity. Every move is a lesson." Despite being outnumbered, the humans had an advantage: unpredictability. Aliens relied on brute force, expecting linear tactics. Humans moved like water, flowing around obstacles, striking from unexpected directions, and disappearing before retaliation could arrive. The battle intensified. Alien dreadnoughts unleashed their massive firepower, but the Dark Fleet had prepared. Shield matrices absorbed strikes, and human carriers deployed swarms of smaller craft to disrupt enemy targeting. Gravity wells and asteroid fields were used as traps, forcing the enemy into positions where they were vulnerable. In the heat of battle, Rourke's comm officer reported a critical discovery. "Captain, the alien command is hesitant. They're unsure how to counter our formations. Their fleet is splitting." Rourke allowed himself a small smile. "Exactly as planned. Keep pressure on them, but remain coordinated. Let them see the full extent of human adaptability." From Earth, the people followed every move through secure channels. In underground cities, across hidden colonies, humans cheered each reported success. The Dark Fleet's victories were not just strategic, they were symbolic. They proved that humanity could rise from the ashes, outthink their enemies, and reclaim their place among the stars. The aliens, realizing the humans were not following expected patterns, began to panic. Council commanders called for reinforcements, but every addition of ships was met with new strategies from the Dark Fleet. Energy nets disabled engines, stealth units intercepted communications, and human fighters struck from blind spots no alien technology could detect. Amid the chaos, Captain Rourke received a transmission from a captured alien vessel. The commander, confused and desperate, asked, Who are you humans? How can you fight like this?" Rourke's voice was calm, firm, and filled with pride. "We are humans. You left us for dead. You underestimated us. Now you will see what it truly means to challenge humanity." The alien commander's ship was quickly disabled, but the word spread across the battlefield. Even among their own forces, the aliens began to fear these unpredictable humans. As the battle raged, Rourke coordinated multiple maneuvers. He sent raider squads to disable energy grids, carrier drones to intercept reinforcements, and fighter wings to confuse enemy targeting systems. Every tactic had been prepared, but humans adapted instantly to unexpected developments. When one plan failed, another seamlessly took its place. Lieutenant Kara Sun executed a brilliant diversion, drawing a section of enemy ships into a gravitational trap. Energy beams collided with asteroids, sending debris across the battlefield, scattering alien ships and leaving them exposed. The humans seized the opportunity, striking decisively. After hours of relentless engagement, the alien coalition's formation began to crumble. Their fleets were scattered, communications were disrupted, and morale faltered. The humans, though smaller in number, had shown an advantage that no alien species could fully anticipate: intelligence, creativity, and unity. From Earth, General Klein addressed the hidden command centers. "This is more than victory," she said. "This is proof. Humanity is not weak. Humanity is not finished. Every life lost, every colony abandoned has only made us stronger. The galaxy is beginning to understand the truth. We survive because we are humans and we never give up." Rourke aboard the Erebus surveyed the aftermath. Alien ships that remained operational were retreating, confused and fearful. The Dark Fleet, though battered, had not lost a single ship. Every human pilot, engineer, and soldier had performed with courage and brilliance. Mira Voss turned to Rourke, her eyes shining. "Captain, they're retreating. They can't believe it. They've never fought like this." Rourke nodded, pride swelling in his chest. "They will remember this day. They will remember what happens when humans are underestimated, and we have only begun." Even among the surviving aliens, whispers spread. Across the galaxy, news of the humans' unexpected victory traveled quickly. Other species, once confident in their dominance, began to reconsider their assumptions. Humanity was no longer weak. Humanity was a force that combined intelligence, courage, and adaptability in ways no one had imagined. Back on Earth, celebrations were quiet, but heartfelt. Engineers and scientists continued to refine ships, knowing that the battle was won in part, but the war was far from over. Every human knew the importance of preparation, planning, and unity. The Dark Fleet had proven its strength, but humanity's ultimate rise depended on what they learned from every engagement. In the observation deck of the Erebus, Rourke stood silently, staring at the distant stars. He thought of every colony lost, every battle fought, and every human who had endured the Council's neglect. He also thought of the future, the fleet growing stronger, humans reclaiming their place among the stars, and the moment when the galaxy would fully recognize that humanity was no longer a species to ignore. "They left us for dead," he whispered. "But look at us now. We do not just survive. We conquer, we rise, and the galaxy will remember humanity forever." The Dark Fleet moved forward, silent but unstoppable, leaving a trail of awe, fear, and respect across the stars. Humanity had proven that even in the darkest hour, their ingenuity, courage, and unity could not be defeated. The battle for the stars had begun, and for the first time in centuries, the galaxy had to take notice. The humans had reclaimed their place, not by waiting for permission, not by asking for mercy, but by showing that their spirit, determination, and intelligence were unmatched. The Dark Fleet was no longer just a secret. It was a symbol, a warning, and a promise. Humanity had returned, and no force in the galaxy could stop them. The news of Titan's arrival did not remain confined to Valora Station for long. Across the galaxy, hyperspace channels buzzed with reports, discussions, and speculation. Every civilization, from the oldest empires to the smallest colonies, felt the tremors of Earth's entry into interstellar affairs. For many, it was not just news, it was a challenge to the way the galaxy had always been ordered. In the distant systems of the Crack's Dominion, Chancellor Vorak paced in his private chamber aboard the capital ship Dominion's Pride. The walls glowed with holographic displays of Titan's specifications. Its size, its energy output, and its technology were all recorded in perfect detail. Yet, no matter how many times he studied the data, he could not suppress a growing unease. "This human ship," he muttered to his aide, "it cannot be ignored. Not by our fleets, not by our allies, not by anyone. If it reaches full strength, it could challenge even the greatest of our armadas." Vorak's advisors argued among themselves. Some urged an immediate attack to assert dominance. Others suggested diplomacy, hoping to avoid conflict. But all agreed on one point. The arrival of Titan had shattered their certainty. Meanwhile, in the Zathari Union, the reaction was very different. Councillor Myra Lenth addressed the Union's assembly. "We have seen the humans' power," she said, antennae quivering in thought. "It is immense. But their message is not one of aggression. Perhaps instead they offer an opportunity, for alliance, for learning, for peace." Her words sparked heated debates. Some feared that joining forces with Earth could entangle them in unknown conflicts. Others believed that a species capable of building Titan could become a guardian of the galaxy, a new standard for justice and innovation. Back at Valora Station, Titan remained in orbit, calm and imposing. From its observation decks, humans watched the reactions of alien visitors with a mixture of curiosity and patience. For the crew, this was not merely a display of strength. It was a test, not of their weapons but of their restraint and wisdom. Admiral Marcus Hale understood the weight of the moment. "Every eye in the galaxy is on us," he told his officers. "Not just our enemies but our potential friends as well. How we act now will define humanity's place among the stars. Power without purpose is dangerous. Power with restraint is legendary." The crew nodded in agreement. They had trained for this moment for years. Every simulation, every strategy exercise, every engineering breakthrough had prepared them to meet the galaxy on its own terms. But simulations could never capture the real weight of attention Titan now commanded. Elsewhere, across crowded space lanes and quiet trade routes, rumors of Titan grew more dramatic with each retelling. Merchants claimed that the ship was larger than a small moon. Scientists speculated about engines capable of moving faster than any known warp system. Children in space colonies imagined it as a floating palace of light and steel. The Crack's Dominion, unwilling to wait for Earth to make the first move, deployed a reconnaissance fleet to Titan's location. The ships moved cautiously, sensors wide open, prepared for the unknown. When they arrived, they were met with an unusual sight. Titan did not hide nor did it fire. Its hull shimmered faintly, but there were no shields raised in aggression. A single message appeared on all Crack's communication channels. "We observe, we learn, we respect. Humanity comes in peace, but we are prepared to defend life wherever it is threatened." The Crack's commanders were stunned. They had expected a warning, a test, or even a battle. Instead, they found calm authority. Forak's fingers twitched over his command console. "Prepare for full engagement," he said quietly. "But be ready. Something is different here. This is no ordinary species." Meanwhile, the Zathari Union sent emissaries to Titan. These scientists and diplomats were careful, polite, and cautious. They walked through the ship's massive corridors, marveling at human design. Laboratories glowed with advanced technologies. Engines hummed with efficient power. And weapons systems were carefully shielded and calibrated. Counselor Myra Length spoke with Admiral Hale in the observation chamber, where stars stretched endlessly into space. "You have built a marvel," she said. "Your ship, your people? You are unlike any other civilization I have known." Hale nodded respectfully. "We have learned much from our history, from our struggles, and from our planet. Titan is more than a ship. It is a symbol of what humanity can achieve when it works together, when it applies intellect, courage, and care." The counselors were amazed. Here was power, yes, but it was tempered with wisdom. They could feel it in the calm movements of the crew, the way every system worked in harmony, and the precision of Titan's design. It was strength without arrogance, a rarity in the galaxy. Back in the outer systems, news of these meetings spread. Many civilizations began to reassess their assumptions about humans. Traders whispered in marketplaces, fleet commanders studied Titan's specifications, and diplomats rethought alliances. Some old empires, long confident in their supremacy, felt a subtle unease. For the first time, they were not sure they understood humanity. Even the shadowy corners of the galaxy felt Titan's arrival. Smugglers, pirates, and spies all noted that the small blue planet had suddenly produced a power unmatched by most known forces. Attempts to infiltrate or steal secrets from Titan were met with quiet failure. Its defenses were precise, subtle, and almost invisible until tested. Aboard Titan, the crew continued their routines. Human engineers monitored the ship's complex systems. Scientists refined experiments that could benefit countless worlds, and cadets trained in both strategy and diplomacy. Admiral Hale reminded them constantly, "We are strong. Yes, but our strength must be measured by what we protect, not what we destroy." As the days stretched into weeks, Titan's presence became a pivot around which the galaxy moved. Fleets adjusted their patrols, diplomats recalculated negotiations, and citizens watched the stars with new eyes. Children drew pictures of the shining ship in the night sky, and scholars wrote papers speculating on Earth's future role. And yet, amid all the attention, Titan itself remained calm. It did not seek glory, nor did it flaunt its power. Its existence alone was enough to reshape the galaxy's perception of humanity. Other civilizations began to recognize that humans had arrived not only with might, but with vision. In one remote system, a fleet commander whispered to his first officer, "They are not like the others. They are different. Perhaps in time they could change everything." His words carried both awe and fear. For Admiral Hale, that thought was precisely the point. Humanity's entry into the galaxy was not meant to dominate. It was meant to inspire, to protect, and to offer an example of what a species could achieve when guided by intelligence, courage, and restraint. As Titan glided silently in orbit around Valora Station, the galaxy felt the first true ripple of Earth's arrival. It was subtle yet powerful, like the first drop of a wave that would soon crash across countless star systems. The galaxy was no longer the same. Questions had been raised, assumptions challenged, and new possibilities imagined. And all of it began with the simple, undeniable truth. Earth had arrived. From that moment on, every civilization knew they would need to pay attention, not just to Titan, but to the people who had built it. Humanity had begun its journey among the stars, and the galaxy for the first time realized that it had underestimated the strength and ingenuity of a small blue planet. The ripples were only beginning. The galaxy had grown accustomed to Titan. Its presence was a constant, a reminder of humanity's power, wisdom, and restraint. Allies trusted the humans' guidance, while even cautious empires watched carefully, unwilling to underestimate them again. But beyond the mapped stars, in the unexplored depths of the void, something ancient stirred. Long ago, civilizations had whispered tales of a force so vast it had conquered entire regions of space and left only legends behind. Few had seen it and fewer had survived. Now that force had sensed the rise of humanity. Its attention shifted across the light years, and its approach was silent yet undeniable. Titan's sensors detected unusual energy patterns far beyond the outer reaches. The readings were unlike anything the crew had seen. Waves of energy rippled through space, moving faster than light, shifting gravitational fields and disrupting communications. The ship's instruments hummed with warning tones. Admiral Marcus Hale gathered his senior staff on the bridge. The holographic display showed a massive armada forming in the uncharted regions of space, far larger than any previously encountered. "This is no ordinary fleet," Hale said, his voice steady but firm. "What we face now is not a test from our peers. This is something older, stronger, and far more dangerous. But we are ready." Commander Liana Chen studied the projections. The fleet's formation is highly organized, and their energy output, it dwarfs even the largest known civilizations. They are not here for diplomacy. They are here to dominate, to destroy. Hale nodded. "Then we will defend. Humanity has always faced challenges from the earliest days on our home planet. We will face this one the same way, with intelligence, courage, and unity." The first encounter occurred in the shadow of a gas giant in a distant system. The armada appeared without warning, colossal ships of unknown design, bristling with energy weapons and shields that shimmered like molten glass. Their presence alone warped space, and their engines created distortions that rippled across the system. Titan moved forward calmly. Its engines glowed, slicing through the void with precision. The humans aboard felt no panic, only focus. They had prepared for this, studied every possible scenario, and trained tirelessly for encounters far beyond ordinary experience. The first shots were fired, not by Titan, but by the ancient armada. Energy beams lashed across the void, testing the defenses of Earth's mightiest ship. Titan responded with calculated precision, intercepting attacks and neutralizing threats without unnecessary destruction. The crew executed maneuvers that seemed almost impossible, guiding the massive ship with careful grace. On board the alien armada, commanders were astonished. Their sensors had detected Titan long ago, and yet their attack seemed ineffective. Every strike was countered, every maneuver anticipated. These humans, young as their species was, displayed mastery that even the oldest civilizations had rarely achieved. Hale addressed the crew calmly. "We fight not for conquest, but for life. Protect yourselves, protect each other, and protect every world that cannot defend itself. Let our actions show that humanity's power is matched by our responsibility." The battle raged across the system. Titan's weapons disabled enemy engines, disrupted their energy cores, and neutralized threats without harming life. Smaller fleets joined the fight, some of Titan's allies inspired by human courage and others cautiously assisting to prevent total annihilation. The galaxy watched in awe. Distant civilizations, observing through sensors and communication relays, realized that humanity's reputation was well earned. Titan was not just a ship. It was a symbol of what a young species could achieve when guided by intelligence, restraint, and determination. Amid the chaos, Admiral Hale executed a bold maneuver. Titan moved directly between the alien fleet and a nearby inhabited system, absorbing and deflecting every attack aimed at the planets below. The humans' strategic planning, combined with their advanced technology, turned a potential disaster into a demonstration of protection and control. Commander Chen monitored the energy flows and weapon systems, coordinating with allied fleets. Their attack patterns are adaptive, she noted. But Titan's shields and countermeasures are responding faster than they can adjust. We have the advantage. Even the ancient armada could not ignore the discipline and ingenuity displayed by Titan. Their attacks, while powerful, became less coordinated as they attempted to adjust. The humans anticipated these changes, exploiting weaknesses with precision strikes and careful maneuvers. Every engagement was calculated, every decision intentional. Finally, after hours of battle, the alien armada began to retreat. Their commanders recognized that Titan was not merely a threat to their ships. It was a force that could withstand overwhelming power while protecting countless lives. Even the oldest and most feared civilization had encountered something new, a species that wielded power with wisdom and honor. As the armada vanished into the depths of uncharted space, Titan's crew exhaled, a mixture of relief and quiet pride filling the ship. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge yet and had emerged victorious, not through reckless destruction, but through skill, courage, and restraint. Admiral Hale addressed his crew once more. Today we have proven that humanity's strength is not measured by how much we can destroy, but by how much we can protect. Our actions have shown the galaxy who we are, a species capable of rising above fear, capable of leading with wisdom, capable of inspiring hope. Across the galaxy, civilizations responded. Allies celebrated, strengthened by the demonstration of human leadership. Neutral species watched, some cautiously optimistic, others filled with newfound respect. Even former skeptics could not deny the impact. Earth had arrived and humanity had proven its place among the stars. News of the battle spread like wildfire. Traders, explorers, and diplomats recounted the story of Titan's stand, highlighting not only the ship's power, but the humans' strategic brilliance and restraint. Across countless worlds, citizens began to see humans not just as survivors of a small blue planet, but as leaders, protectors, and innovators. Back on Titan, life returned to its disciplined routine. Crew members repaired minor damages, recalibrated systems, and continued training. Scientists and engineers studied the engagement, analyzing both technology and tactics to ensure future preparedness. Humanity's curiosity, ingenuity, and commitment to improvement remained unwavering. Hale understood that this victory, while significant, was not the end. The galaxy was vast and unknown threats would continue to emerge. Yet he also knew that humanity had sent a clear message. Strength paired with wisdom, power guided by responsibility, and courage tempered by morality could achieve what many thought impossible. In distant systems, scholars wrote of the day Earth's mightiest ship faced an ancient armada and emerged unbroken. Children drew pictures of Titan defending worlds. Teachers recounted the battle as a lesson in strategy and responsibility, and leaders considered humanity's example in forming new policies and alliances. The final truth became clear. Titan's arrival had reshaped the galaxy's understanding of what a species could accomplish. Humanity was no longer underestimated. Their ingenuity, courage, and moral integrity were recognized across stars. And the message of Titan echoed far beyond the immediate systems. Earth had arrived, and humanity was ready to shape the future of the galaxy. As the stars continued to shine, Titan glided silently through space, its crew vigilant, prepared, and united. The galaxy would face many challenges in the years ahead, but humanity had proven one undeniable truth. Even a young species, small and fragile compared to ancient civilizations, could rise to greatness when guided by intelligence, courage, and honor. The ripples of Titan's presence would continue to expand, touching distant worlds, inspiring civilizations, and altering the course of galactic history. Humanity had faced the test of fire, earned allies, deterred enemies, and triumphed against an ancient force. And as the ship's lights reflected across the void, one thought remained clear in every corner of the galaxy. When Earth's mightiest ship arrived, it sent shockwaves through the stars, and those shockwaves would be felt forever. The galaxy had watched, analyzed, and debated, but talk was not enough. Some civilizations wanted to measure humanity's strength for themselves. The Cracks Dominion, known for their vast fleets and relentless warriors, decided it was time for a test. Not out of malice, at least not entirely, but out of caution. They claimed their fleet's movement was necessary to ensure the safety of all species, but deep in their hearts every commander knew it was also a challenge. Admiral Marcus Hale had expected this. "They will come," he said quietly to his bridge crew aboard Titan. "Not everyone can accept a new power in the galaxy, but how we respond will define humanity's place among the stars." Titan's hull shimmered in the distant light of Valora Station as the sensors detected the approaching fleet. Hundreds of ships, sleek and menacing, advanced with careful precision. Their energy signatures glowed ominously against the backdrop of stars. Commander Liana Chen, Titan's tactical officer, studied the fleet's formations. "They are testing us," she said, "but they don't know what they're walking into." The Cracks fleet's leader, Admiral Vorak, spoke through encrypted channels. His voice, rough and commanding, echoed across the void. "Titan, identify yourself. State your intentions. Humanity must answer for its arrival." Admiral Hale's response was calm, measured. "We come in peace. We have no desire to harm any being in this galaxy, but we will defend life when it is threatened." The Crack ships hesitated, uncertain. Their scanners could read Titan's weapons output, its shields, its energy reserves, and still they could not understand how a species so young could command such power. Vorak's pride bristled, but protocol demanded a demonstration. "Then we test," he said. The first shots fired, not in anger, but in calculation. Energy beams lanced toward Titan, scanning, probing, testing the ship's defenses. But the Titan did not panic. It responded with precision countermeasures, intercepting beams and neutralizing attacks without causing destruction. Shields absorbed energy, engines adjusted, and weapons deployed in controlled demonstrations of force. Crew members on Titan worked in synchronized harmony. Engineers adjusted energy flows to optimize shields. Scientists monitored the environmental impact, and tactical officers calculated trajectories with careful attention. Every action was precise, every response deliberate. From a viewing station on one of the Crack ships, officers watched in awe. "They are not firing back to destroy," one whispered. "They are proving control and restraint." Admiral Vorak clenched his claws. "Impossible," he muttered. "They are young. They should lack discipline. Yet they act as if centuries of strategy guide them." The battle continued for hours, each side testing the other, but only one was truly showing restraint. Titan's weapons disabled engines and energy systems without causing casualties. Entire enemy ships drifted safely without loss of life, their crews bewildered but unharmed. The Cracks Dominion had never seen such careful power wielded with confidence and skill. On Titan, Admiral Hale watched the conflict unfold. "Remember," he said to his crew, "our goal is not to dominate but to demonstrate that humanity can protect without cruelty. This is what sets us apart." The demonstration concluded when Vorak realized Titan's capability exceeded all of his expectations. His fleet had been tested and they had failed to threaten Titan in any meaningful way. Yet no lives had been lost, no planets had been scorched, and no unnecessary destruction had occurred. Reluctantly, Vorak ordered a withdrawal. "Return to base," he commanded, his voice tight with pride and unease. "But mark this day, humanity is no ordinary species." As the Cracks fleet departed, news of the test of fire spread across neighboring systems. Scientists and diplomats marveled at the demonstration. Traders and explorers whispered tales of a species that had harnessed immense power, yet chosen to use it wisely. Across the galaxy, the story of Titan became more than the tale of a ship. It became the story of humans themselves. In the days following, other civilizations approached with caution and curiosity. Delegations from the Zathari Union, the Lunari Confederation, and even isolated independent worlds came to observe Titan. Each delegation was greeted with hospitality, transparency, and an unspoken challenge. See humanity as it is, not as you feared it might be. On Titan, life continued in disciplined routines. Crew members maintained the ship, trained in strategic exercises, and prepared for unforeseen threats. Scientists monitored energy patterns in deep space. Engineers refined propulsion systems, and medical officers developed technologies that could aid multiple species. Every action reinforced a single truth. Humanity had arrived not to dominate but to protect and innovate. Yet the galaxy's reactions were not entirely peaceful. Some factions feared that such power could not remain restrained indefinitely. In the shadowed corridors of forgotten systems, whispers began. Rumors of espionage and sabotage attempts spread, though none succeeded. Titan's defenses were precise, adaptive, and almost impossible to circumvent. Every failed attempt only reinforced the story of human ingenuity and preparedness. Admiral Hale understood that the test of fire was only the beginning. "The galaxy will challenge us," he told his senior officers. "They may question our intentions, test our strength, and doubt our wisdom. But we must remain true to what humanity represents: courage, intelligence, and responsibility." In a distant observation chamber, young cadets trained under the watchful eyes of their mentors. They studied the battle logs of the Krax fleet, learning not just tactics but the philosophy behind Titan's restraint. "Power," one cadet remarked to another, "is not just about weapons. It's about knowing when not to use them." The ripple effect of Titan's display spread further. Independent worlds previously ignored by the major powers began to see Earth as a potential protector. Traders adjusted their routes to avoid conflict zones, knowing that Titan's presence could offer safety. Scholars speculated about future alliances and the influence humanity might wield. Not through conquest, but through example. For the first time, the galaxy realized that strength alone was not what made a civilization formidable. It was the combination of power and discipline, innovation and morality, courage and care. Humanity embodied these qualities, and Titan was the vessel that proved it. Even the Krax Dominion, despite their initial skepticism, could not deny the truth. Thorax officers reported in hushed tones. "They fought with skill beyond their years, yet without unnecessary destruction. They are remarkable." Thorax himself remained silent, grappling with both fear and respect. As the final hours of the test ended, Titan returned to orbit around Valora Station. The ship glowed softly under the light of distant stars, a calm giant in the void. Onboard, crew members reflected on what had transpired. They had faced the first true test, and they had passed, not just through superior technology, but through restraint, intelligence, and teamwork. Admiral Hale addressed his crew once more. "Today, we have shown the galaxy who humanity is, not through fear, not through destruction, but through the strength of our spirit and the wisdom of our actions. This is the path we will continue to follow. Remember it." Across the galaxy, civilizations began to acknowledge a new reality. Humans were no longer to be underestimated, no longer to be dismissed as a primitive species. Their arrival had shifted the balance of perception. Stories of Titan and its disciplined power spread, inspiring hope in some, caution in others, and awe in all. In the quiet of the void, Titan floated, serene and ready. Its crew understood that greater challenges awaited, but they also understood their purpose. Humanity had shown that even a small, young species could rise to greatness when guided by intellect, morality, and courage. And as stars twinkled around the mighty ship, one undeniable truth became clear: the galaxy would never look at Earth the same way again. The test of fire had proven not just Titan's strength, but humanity's heart. The ripples of that day would echo far and wide, shaping alliances, strategies, and perceptions for years to come. And humanity, steady and patient, was ready for whatever the galaxy would send next.